Hello, in new episode of What's Next. New topics for today, of course, connected to AI as usual, and also about your personal development as a developer, product manager, or maybe there is a new role. Probably Marcin has something to say about this.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, we will see. We'll find out.
Okay, so let's roll. I will start with the first topic. What was the biggest lie AI told you? And the lie which actually meant something, not like typing in the chat, you've heard about the weather, you went for vacation and the weather was different, but something what was really important in your business or process. So for one of my automation, I needed to fetch the data of the World Cup matches scores, and AI lied to me twice. The first lie was that there is no official API with the scores, so I didn't check it myself. I totally believed the AI, and I thought, okay, so let's use Gemini API. Gemini can see the news online, so let's prepare the prompt, which will be very specific. So only when the match is finally over, give me the score in some format, the JSON format. So for the first match, it worked well. So I ran this on my production setup. And for the next match, I believe it was between Korea Republic and Czechia, it gave me the wrong score. And actually, it impacted the other part of the automation. It gave me 1-1, and I checked in that the match. The second goal was scored on the 19th minute, so it wasn't like the last minute score or something. So actually, I lied myself, because for that kind of implementation, I shouldn't have used AI. So it was my fault, absolutely, because I wanted to force AI to the sharp edge case. What does it mean? It means that there is deterministic, only one outcome of the question or the situation. So this is type of situation when AI is not the best pick. It's very good with the curve edge cases. It means that it can describe you things, it can lead you with the extra question to slowly go towards the goal you want to be. But when you want to have the sharp edge output, exact numbers, exact yes or no decision, which really is important, AI is not the best pick and not the best solution. So here it was absolutely my fault, because first of all I should do the research myself, because there is official FIFA free of charge API which serves you with the scores of the games, and this is what I use now in the automation. And the second thing, I try to cut corners, I would say, and just believe that, okay, let's connect Gemini API and AI will do the things for me. So that was absolutely bad on my end. I fixed that very quickly, and of course I'm using a lot of AI, but in curve edge cases, in places that it can really help, not actually break my automation. So first topic from your side, Mark, or maybe you have your own experience with AI bullshitting you.
Yeah, before I will stop to my topic, I will definitely add something, that because I do believe that there are a lot of AI lies that were impacting a lot of businesses. So I would love to hear them. So if anyone is watching or listening to us, please let us know in the comments anywhere where you are listening or watching about your fuck up with AI. But I had I wanted to just add one, that I'm trying to avoid this, because I've started using AI models before. I would say it was cool, and I think that the lesson is that we can use AI models to prepare us to use another AI models, and that's what I do right now. So when I'm prompting the models, I'm already telling them that please do not tell me lies, do not imagine things, and rely only on the facts or something like that. And recently I was using one of the models to build me a prompt based on my input to pass it to the another model. So it was kind of like a filtered prompting with additional model to help me to avoid landing with some wrong answers. But I completely agree with your take on using AI for non-AI cases, because when it's not needed, when there is no invention or decision-making process to be in place to really rely on those models, we definitely can use the old-fashioned standard approaches to get data, do something with data, and build some bunch of conditions and logic on top of that. So yeah, I would love to hear more stories about it, to be honest. But yeah, that was my take, and my topic. My first topic today is about those new roles, about which you've mentioned in the initial intro for the episode. Because I started to scan through the job market recently a lot, and I found something what I haven't seen earlier. And I spoke about it with a couple of my friends from the bigger companies and the big industry leaders, and it seemed to be a thing which I wasn't aware of. And that's why I wanted to talk about it and explore it and describe it to you guys, because it's all about forward deployed engineer roles. And I even seen it yesterday on some of the slides from Oscar do this presentation, one of the architects talks in Poland. And I was thinking about, is it a new role or is it a combination of existing roles? And I think it's kind of both, because it's nicely sounding new title for someone who might be on the edge of being developer, architect, consultant, or even a product manager or a customer success manager. And in the previous world, I would say, sales was selling things, consultants were gathering requirements, then someone was architecting that, developers were building this, and support maintained the solution. And I think that the problem that this role tries or aims to solve is an overhead of handovers and communication overheads, because all of those people, all of those departments needed to communicate to each other. And now even one person or team of this kind of personas can remove this overhead and basically handle it all. Because based on my personal experience, I can talk to the customers, I can understand their business problem, I can prototype the solution, even so I can even build it now and deploy it, test it, iterate with the customer, and then I don't need all of those other people to help me with that, because I can do it, and maybe then hand it over to someone who will bulletproof it or enhance it or do something with it. So I think it's not a completely new role, because people were doing that. And again, as an entrepreneurs or founders, we got used to being everything and everyone in the teams of less people to do more job. But yeah, I think this is something what I would be definitely exploring more. And in relation to AI, I don't think it's, again, AI here is not a factor that will be replacing those people in the singular roles, but this communication overhead, which in my opinion is still a huge problem, because we were even talking about it in the previous chat. I think this would be where this kind of roles and this type of personas will help companies to really win, because there might be a person who can move seamlessly between business and technology and then serve for all of that angles. So that's my take. Have you seen any roles like this inside of your team's organization? Have you heard about forward deployed engineer yourself, Jacek?
I've never heard this term, but maybe I will start with an anecdote, which I've heard some time ago, that project managers were vibe coding before it was a thing, but through the developers. So they're vibe coding, telling developers what they need to do. So they're prompting real people instead of the AI. And the output was similar, but of course you would have to wait more for the output than with AI. So this is something related to what we are talking here, that nowadays one person can do the task of a team, and task which would take weeks within hours. So I really like this term. I don't know how it will land and aged in the future, but for sure it's possible now to have a lot of things done by one person, but not really sure how it will end up, how technical that person should be, or maybe non-technical to better understand the business. Of course, the fusion of those two is the best because I cannot imagine that the non-technical product manager PM could vibe code a good solution because he could do some proof of concept, some mock-ups, working mock-ups, but not like the real product, especially with all the features and all the constraints it has in the real life, all the database connections, APIs, you name it. So person with both, as you mentioned, the business analytics plus the hard experience with the software development, that could be a good solution to have like the one-man army. Yeah. So that would be my take on this.
And there is a line, of course, that needs to be drawn somewhere. But I would, again, as same as previously, I would love to hear more war stories about people doing this officially, because some big organizations that I've already seen are not only recruiting for this type of roles to embed this kind of engineers in their companies, but they already have some people doing it for some time. So yeah, we'll see what's next then. And what's next in our agenda is your next topic, Jack. It's local LLMs on your hardware. So tell us more about it.
Exactly. So maybe let's start. Why would even consider building your own hardware setup to host LLMs for you? That would be rising prices of APIs when you use LLMs. The Claude API and other, they are going up, and maybe it's good to think if it's possible to have the same thing locally. So thinking about the product, you have a product which uses AI API, and the AI cost is calculated within your margin and all the other costs, and then the cost of this API would double in 1 year. So having like the low margin product, that would kill the product entirely. So it's not something you have to build like here and now, but something to consider, especially when you want to calculate the cost of using AI, not only for the vibe coding, but maybe more for the API usage. So when you want to scale your product and you are a little bit afraid of the prices in like 2 years, for example, nobody knows what price will be of using APIs in a few years. So let me give you like the very quick overview on what's possible and what is the easiest one to start with. So looking at the local, absolutely offline LLMs and the hardware for that, the easiest start would be using Apple Studio with 96 gigabytes of RAM. You can download software like Olama, and like after the installation start prompting, so it's almost like one-click installation and you can use it. Of course, it's not the best solution for everything, but it's something to start with. And going forward, the more complex hardware setups, that would be NVIDIA DGX Spark. So this is a really high-end solution with the CUDA system. And the CUDA, this is what NVIDIA invented. To describe it very quickly, it's just like the operating system which enables you to parallelly run multiple tasks and also moving tasks from CPU to GPU when it's needed. So it optimizes the usage of the hardware, and it only works with the NVIDIA hardware. So this is something they implemented. But when you buy NVIDIA Spark hardware, you get it and you can use it. So I'm really looking forward to buy one of those machines and to play a little bit more with this hardware and especially the software, the DGX OS, which is Ubuntu based, but very tailored to the hardware and tailored to the AI usage. So the setup would be a little bit more complex than Apple Studio. It would need some research training and actually understanding of the hardware to set up that correctly and use the hardware in the best way using all the performance you have there. So for sure, I will buy one of those hardwares, and then I will let you know. Maybe we'll do some demo online in what's next, how the system looks like. Prepare some benchmarks comparing with the online APIs to see what's possible, and then we have better hands-on knowledge because thing is to read in a flyer about the product, and then other thing is actually using that. So moving forward, go ahead.
Yeah, I was having a question. Do you feel like the companies now should maybe not save money, but allocate some money to aim to purchase bigger machines and bigger hardware for themselves in the nearest future instead of now preventing or waiting for increased prices of the APIs?
That's a very good topic for the next what's next. But what I see, there is like the small movement in general from cloud to on-premise. So I see that's the thing. There are a few big cases of the big companies who moved all the stack from cloud to on-premise. So as I'm saying, that would be very good topic for next what's next to give more details on that. So with that being said, I think that the AI would be the accelerator of this movement from cloud to on-premise with very specific cases when it's really needed. It's not like the panic run away from cloud because cloud's great and it's best to use cloud whenever you can and when you have like the stable information about the cost. But when you have some question marks with the cost and maybe with the performance or maybe security, that would be the third huge angle to also focus why you might consider moving to on-premise. So yes, so I believe that having some budget or actually even start with some research budget for the research to see what would be the price to host your own setup locally or on premise in some server facility. That's for sure something to be considered. Not in a panic way, but in strategic way, looking forward. So with that being said, there is like the third option that would be IBM enterprise setup. This is like the really high-end thing. So they are not competing with NVIDIA. They're using NVIDIA's hardware as well. So they are building and they enable you to build a setup when you use their own hardware plus NVIDIA's hardware. So of course, this is much more complex to set up. You have to understand which should be run on the GPU, which on CPU, and how to set up the whole cluster or farm of the hardware. So this is something I will also investigate a little bit more, but I will start with the NVIDIA Spark, or even maybe I will start with only Apple Studio as a first step and then go forward with the complexity. So new topics to be discussed in the future episodes. So yes. So long story short, if you want to start it really quick, you can do it with Apple Studio or even with the hardware you have if you have enough RAM. So yeah, download some LLMs, run it locally, see how it works, and then probably you need to buy more powerful hardware if you want to continue that game. What's your second topic, Marcin?
Yeah, just to add to that one thing, I used LM Studio, something which is a UI friendly tool that allows you to download those models. So it's not too technical to play around with this. So if anyone is looking for a non-technical CLI first way to play around with local models, I can recommend that one for sure. My next topic is about the big business move, which we've seen on the recent web and startup, not only startup scene, because SpaceX took over all the shares that they were controlling on the Cursor product and acquired them effectively. And the transaction was quite enormous because it was more expensive than buying X Twitter previously, and it was around $16 billion in the value at the end of the day. But the question which I wanted to really raise here is like, why does SpaceX owns Cursor? Because again, I knew that they were using it. They were talking about helping Cursor since probably April 2026, officially at least. Also on the list of clients, they were there for quite a while. And even now, I checked on the Cursor side that they are bragging about 64% of Fortune 500 companies that are using their product to write software, play around, or generally utilize agents and models, MCP skills and stuff like that. So probably the answer is easy, because those 64% of companies and ownership of the product, relation with the product, which Cursor is like a coding AI coding platform, is that it's definitely something what big businesses wants to have. And SpaceX in general, cutting out SpaceX part, it's like still like Elon Musk, SpaceX, X, the whole ecosystem combined now also extends it with the Cursor as a platform. I think it's not only about the coding parts, it's not only about engineering parts, it's all about probably ecosystem in general, maybe, because still SpaceX probably does not have a productivity problem. They do have one of the best engineers in the world who were fighting to do the work for them as well at some phase. They went with the IPO, which made Elon Musk extremely rich and probably get the second richest person on earth wealth multiplied in a day by 2. So that's the company that definitely is not lacking talent, not lacking productivity. So they are still again proving that the AI assisted development is a thing, that they want to be more efficient. They don't want to replace engineers. And that's also relating back to the conversations that we had previously. It's, in my opinion, it's all about reduction friction in all of that, in all of this process, to sharpen the path and shorten the path for searching documentation, navigating code bases, doing some repetitive implementation, or even fixing some stupid bugs or issues that were previously dragging out the professionals like this to do stupid, simple, boring things. And again, context switching is something what agents loves doing. People are not the best in context switching, so you can have multiple agents doing independent jobs and then streamline their work together. And again, Cursor, I haven't used Cursor a lot recently. I was more relying on CLI tools and IDA included extensions, but it did pretty well. It was kind of leading in the IDE first tools. So it's quite interesting to see it. And there was a lot of questions I also wanted to flag here, like what's happening with Grok now on Twitter or X, however you name it. From where the AI will be coming from now, who is kind of the owner of the AI models, and which one will be ruling further amongst the SpaceX, OpenAI, and all the other competitors on the market. So we'll see, but definitely the companies are winning with AI now. and those acquisitions like this are proving this. Again, they are not replacing engineers, because they are not aiming to replace them in the first place. It's more about really to be where they should be, and as fast as they can be. And yeah, I believe that they are removing everything basically that is not engineering from the whole kind of plate of the tasks that usual or typical engineers are doing daily. So yeah, I think AI coding tools are not a talent substitute, wants to be said again, but they are our leverage multiplier, which will help us and will help companies like SpaceX. And if they are treated as a trendsetter, we are observing them, we are seeing what is happening, and yeah, who knows who will be next, and what next chess move will be on the big boys playground now. So that was my topic number 2.
That was a
Your
little
next Yep.
Yeah, so maybe my comment on this.
Yep.
I was surprised when you told me before we start recording about this acquisition. I was too busy with other things, so I didn't catch up with that information. I have been using Cursor since 2024, so I can tell that I'm a heavy believer in that type of communication with the IDE when you want to code things. So I'm more into the IDE than CLI. Of course, both ways have pros and cons, and some people want to stay in CLI, which is also a great way to build things. So Cursor, they started with no model, and they were using the Opus and all other models which were available on the market, and they have I believe their own noun since some time yet. It's a Composer, and as far as I know, first versions of Composer, when they didn't know what to do, they were using the other models, and now it looks like this model becomes more independent, especially looking at the speed of code. It would be difficult for them to fetch the data from different models in that short amount of time. So I didn't do too much research on, maybe it's not even public, on how the Composer nowadays work, but it works very well, very efficient. It doesn't eat too many tokens to give you very good output. So maybe that was the reason that Cursor was doing very good model for coding, and I don't want to speculate too much about that, but maybe that was the reason. But
Yeah.
because not only the IDE, because the IDE is just a fork of Visual Studio Code, so the IDE is like almost nothing comparing to what happens in the backend of that solution, which I have to say I do love, and I believe that the really one to work on daily basis if you want to build some product.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see, and we'll definitely explore that and mention if there will be any further movements with that. Your next topic then is about the automation and AI. So walk us through that.
Yeah, so I want to speak about that briefly. It should be easy to understand what's the difference between automation and AI. However, I see nowadays a lot of people saying AI all the way and trying to do everything with the AI. And what they actually do, they force AI to do repetitive tasks, which should be done more deterministic. Like back in the days, to actually prepare some pattern and schedule and things which should be done one by one. And then on each of those steps, when you need to include also AI reasoning, you should do it on the exact step of the process. With that, the outcome will be are expecting. And other way, if you give some pattern for the AI to follow, it can follow that like the 9 times out of the 10, and on the 10th time, it can actually a little bit maneuver towards the direction you don't want to be. So when I hear people saying like AI all the way and that's the way, I believe that they might a little bit lack of experience putting software into the market and putting software into the production mode, software which will run multiple times, hundreds of times, millions of times. So you want to have those tasks to be done correctly each and every time. So back to my first topic and the lie about the score of the match. That's a kind of good example because in that automation, AI gave me the correct score for the first match. So I could think, okay, AI done the thing for me. I can close my computer and do whatever I want, and every time it will be exactly as I planned. But in that type of implementation with the AI first, the outcome might be a little bit random in the timing you don't expect. So I just wanted to highlight that the developers and the back from the days thinking about how the software should run when you have very strict edge sharp edge cases, it should be like 0, 1, then it should be a little bit more deterministic than actually believing in all the output of the AI. However, you can build the deterministic software with all the automations using AI. So that part is not going away, definitely. But the runnable product should not only rely on the AI, that it should be mixed of the two very different ideas like automation and AI. So I would say like the automation first. You have to automate what each tasks you can, but AI should be only used like the cherry picking where I need to use the AI. Then there's the place to be very specific about the usage of the AI. And also it will save a ton of tokens. So there are pros of reducing the amount of tokens you are using and also reducing the probability that 1 in a million run will end up in the place you don't want to be. So that would be my takeaway from the last point. What's your last point for today?
Yeah, just before I will add some things to that because I agree with you 100%. And when I was doing my even automations and prototypes recently with AI, I often used and relied on AI enhancement instead of AI processing. So it's like I was doing the automation steps which were predefined. They were easy to follow. They were clear from the business requirements and the process perspective. And then AI enhanced the results or done something with the results to maybe again give me a different context or help me understanding something what I might not have see as a fresh pair of eyes looking at something there. But you can't automate something what is not predictable, so you can't await results from AI and then expect them to be in the specific format or something what will be the input for the future steps of the process or automation. So that's why I think that this will be a line still. But the AI is not automation. Automation is not AI, and I do agree with you on what you have said because clients often ask for AI, and behind this AI is a bunch of if statements and conditions and some boring tasks done, and we need to educate them. And I think this is exactly where we can all support business in understanding that not everything is AI, even if everyone is talking about it all the time. So that's my take. And my final topic for today is about the new business bottleneck, as I titled it, because it kind of relates to something what we were discussing last time. But I think like right now I even seen it more and more by looking at the news and information in the market, and this new business bottleneck is decision-making process, in my opinion. And again, this is my personal opinion. Technology stopped being a bottleneck because it was a bottleneck previously. Someone had an idea, even in the meme that you've brought to the table today about someone delegating something to the bunch of developers. That was a bottleneck because you needed to trust them enough to expect something in the return. You probably was given or were given with the results which might not be ideal. You were iterating with it, you were tweaking it, changing, fixing, awaiting more, and then at the end of the day you overslept or you lost your opportunity to win amongst the other competitors who might have bigger teams or have been faster than. And I often assisted businesses, and I was involved in the processes where technology was a real bottleneck because, again, the ideas were amazing, but building or turning those ideas into something what was production ready or MVP enough, that was the problem. So I think for the first time in decades, technology is no longer a bottleneck in that kind of conversation. And yeah, now a prototype can be built in a day. A landing page can be built in an hour. SaaS product can be built in even a weekend to start with something and get first customers on board. And AI has dramatically reduced this cost of execution. But why those companies are suddenly not moving 10x faster? That's also something what I wanted to leave open as a question here. And I think it's because this bottleneck has moved. So technology, again, we can do more. We can build more, but still people are the ones who are making those decisions. They can't make those decisions that fast, and they can't decide what to build, or if they are deciding, they're deciding to build everything because they can. And these companies who are right now choking with the AI capabilities have issues in the leadership or filtering on what is the angle, what is the destination to go to with capabilities that we have. Something what I wrote on my LinkedIn quite a while ago is like, for what we want to do something is the question which I often ask myself now. So we can do everything, but for what? Why we want to do it? So and again, the risk tolerance, the focus, the alignment, this is all what AI wants to do for instead of humans. The leadership team still needs to be in place. They need to facilitate the angle or destination for everyone. And yeah, I have seen, unfortunately or fortunately, and rarely seen projects that were failing because technology was impossible. Even though it was taking time, it was hard to build, harder, more complex, sometimes maybe too over-engineered because someone said so. But I've seen many projects that failed because people couldn't make good decisions with the direction to take. So I think, again, most valuable people in the organization may no longer be those who can build things, but the ones who can decide what to build and what to do with the capabilities that we take. And again, bad decisions are becoming more expensive now because even though you will build something faster or maybe it will be done better, I think AI makes this execution cheaper, but those decisions still cost a lot. So yeah, just to close it somehow, I think that for the last, again, 20 years, or at least the years I'm in the IT industry, companies competed on execution in general. But over the next 20 years, in my personal opinion, they will be competing on clarity and the clarity of execution and the direction of execution. And yeah, I do believe that the next phases will be, again, the bottlenecks movement in the companies, and those who will move those bottlenecks or will be able to address those bottlenecks better and faster, those will be the ones who will win. And that's my take on this topic. Do you have anything to add, maybe, Jack?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, that's one of the reasons why I exited custom software development and moved into building and investing in my SaaS products, because I don't have to rely on the third-party decisions, what they want to build, what they don't want to build, and about the timing. So now I'm building my products and I'm giving that to the market, and market will tell if it makes sense or not. And I can work in the speed, saying that the as you know, like building products is very fast. So it's easier now to iterate multiple products and see which will stick, which actually makes sense for the customers. So with that being said, now I'm not my bottleneck because I'm moving really fast with the new ideas, checking them on the market. So I want to flip the coin to my advantage, not to wait for anybody, not to see what they want, but actually give them what I think it makes sense, and only stay with products which will help multiple companies at the same time. So the benefits of using the software will be propagated to many people at the same time. So this is my idea for the nearest and long future, I believe. So yeah, I'm reducing bottleneck. So also with the SaaS products, for the decision makers, it's much easier because price is much cheaper. It's just the license of the third party product. So all the maintenance, all the problems, it's not on their end, and it's the on and off thing. So they can take it for 1 month, for 1 quarter, and see if it works for them or not. In my products, I also include the money back guarantee. So if they don't like it in the first month, all the money is back. So absolutely there is no risk on their end. So that should also reduce the bottleneck for the companies to implement new software, thanks to the SaaS model and thanks to the high-end quality products I'm bringing. What do you think about this idea?
Yeah, I do agree. I think generally the model that you are advocating is a bottleneck reduction already, because you don't need to build something. You can just try it out, validate quickly, and then do something with it, with the output. So yeah, I do agree, and I think that this is the good take. And yeah, we all will see what's next and what will happen with this, and if this adoption will really be in place for longer. So yeah, I do agree. Cool. So we went through the list of our topics for today. Again, I have already a couple of the topics that we will be able to mention next time and for the next conversation that we'll have. And maybe anyone who is watching us will bring some topics to the table for the consideration of us talking about them, or at least analyzing them from the human perspective still, not only AI related perspective. So yeah, thanks Jack for today's conversation, and for everyone who's watching, do all the YouTubers and Spotify things, like, subscribe, share, or just leave a comment and let us know what we can focus next on what's next episode of our conversation. So yeah, that's a wrap for today, probably, right?
That would be it. Thanks, Marcin, and see you next week in What's Next.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Cheers, everyone.